Happy Lunar New Year, or Happy Chinese New Year to everyone, or Xin Yi Kuai Le to those people that speak Mandarin. I don't speak Mandarin very well, but anyway, that's my shot at it. So I'm gonna do a Singapore noodle, which is not actually from Singapore, but you might have had it in your Chinese restaurant. I actually like it because it's a rice noodle. But fear not, if you don't have rice noodles, I've done it with like a thin, like capellini kind of pasta. So I know it's blasphemous, but regardless, you can do it. So mine's gonna have shrimp. Traditionally too, it has roast pork. I bet I'm at the pork. I'm not doing so much meat these days, but I've got 1 pound of shrimp. We're gonna start with that first. Clean, deveined. I left the tails on. I'm gonna marinate them in a little bit of salt. So that's 1 teaspoon of salt for all that. And I give it a mix. I'm gonna use a spoon and get those going first. And let that sit for a second, get all the salt in there. And then we gotta work with the rice noodles. So this is 8 ounces. I've seen a lot of the recipes called for the 5.5 ounces. I've got a bigger family, so I'm gonna do the 8. So that's 1 brick like that. So this is rice vermicelli. And then it's gonna go into boiling water. So I've got boiling water here and it's going in there right now. And I just do boiling water because it's quicker, but you have to get it released. And then we're gonna just dunk that a little bit and make sure it kind of comes apart. And then we're gonna get that soft and drain that and make sure it gets dried out. So we'll start with that. I've got the noodles still going, so I'm gonna do this kind of in real time because most of the time when you're cooking professionally, you're doing multiple things at the same time. So I got a non-stick pan, got about a tablespoon of oil, and we're gonna let that heat, make sure the pan is hot first always, then add oil. Then I have egg here. I have 3 eggs. I'm gonna add like half a teaspoon of salt to that, just to season the eggs. Give it a quick whisk, and we're gonna cook them in the hot oil. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking this noodle down into pieces because everything gets cooked better. And most homes don't have like the high heat wok, so you can't kind of do it. If you do, well, you're really lucky then, because then you can put this together all in one shot. So if you don't, then heat's gonna be important to get the right kind of texture and heat on a pan. So I do this in steps and then fold it all together at the end. So that's kind of how I work it together. So we got that. Let that go for a second, it's going on. And then I'm gonna check my noodles, which are going here. Make sure you separate them because a lot of the noodles, so I'm separating the noodles because with any noodle you have to, because they'll stick together and they'll get sticky. So you wanna make sure that happens. So I got the eggs here and I got a little bit of color on it because I like it that way, but it's not all the way cooked. And I'm gonna break that up and put that on the side, let that cool down. So that's part 1 there. The noodles are about ready. I'm gonna shut this pan off. And then we're gonna drain it right into this colander and get that dry to stir fry. So for the vegetables here, I've got pepper, red pepper. You can use green pepper. I'm using red pepper for Chinese New Year's to keep that. Onion, I used about a little bit more than 1/4 of it. And what I did was, so you can see, I cut them smaller because a lot of times people dice this way. I kind of cut it this way and then split it and then just kind of went this way halfway. So then you get nice smaller pieces that go well with the noodle, so it's not too big. I've got some julienne carrot and a little bit of cabbage for some texture, some minced garlic, and so we'll start putting this together in this pan. Okay, hot pan, oil again, about a tablespoon, and then I'm gonna start with the onion. And you can start with the pepper and the carrot too. I kind of go the same thing together all at one time. But like I said, you have so many vegetables, it's gonna need them. I'm gonna add the cabbage in a little bit. I've got some salt. I'm gonna season that with that salt, probably about a teaspoon. And then get that cooking just like that. And then add the cabbage now. And it's textural. You can use, this is savoy cabbage, I had that. You can use napa cabbage. You can use bok choy leaves and bok choy as well. And we're gonna cook that down, I'll stir fry that. And then next steps. Okay, so I got it started a little bit. It's been cooking for like a minute or so. Don't move it too much, get some color going. 2 cloves of garlic, chopped up. Saute that up, get that going, let that cook out. I didn't put it earlier because I don't want it to burn, but I want to get a nice aroma going. I want the vegetables to cook. Then also we're going to add some curry powder to it. And you want to get that nice curry flavor on the vegetables and the noodles as well. A teaspoon, 2 right there. And then, you know, cooking the spices with it starts releasing some of the aroma, which really makes it nice and flavors the vegetables well. Going with the garlic and stuff, so I'm gonna let that cook a little bit longer. Okay, so that's cooked another minute more, and it's got that looking like that. I'm gonna set this off to the side. Now, we're going to use that same pan that we have, So I got the vegetable and the egg right there. I'm gonna put a little more oil, another tablespoon, maybe a little bit less. That's hot already, we know. We have the shrimp. Get that on one side. Even it out so each side gets cooked properly. And bunch them up like that. You can put them in the beginning like that, then separate them out so they cook evenly on each side. And once again, patience, let that go, and then we're gonna keep going on these steps. Okay, so this is cooking for a minute or so, and they've got good color on one side, so I'll show you the technique. Flip once, 50-50 kind of, less than 50-50, then you turn it around. So, kind of works. But at least you get some of it over there. And then flip the other side around, get that a little bit, so you can kind of tell the cooked on the, see, you can tell on this side how they're cooked they are. So you kind of flip it over just to make sure that they get some even cooking. And we're gonna cook that almost all the way through, and then we'll do the noodles. Then we're gonna put everything else together. But it's, you know, if you have a bigger pan, it might be easier, but I wanna make sure I got, the key to most cooking is to make sure every ingredient is taken care of and cooked at its right rate. And sometimes the only way to do that is to do it separate like that. Okay, so almost done. There's another 40 seconds or so. Shaoxing wine, Chinese rice cooking wine. Get that a little bit of flavor there, get a little bit of that on the shrimp. These are very dry sherry as well. I'm actually gonna put this in a bowl right now. I'm gonna put this back on, oil back into there, probably a little more tablespoon, maybe a little bit, pinch more. And then we're gonna start doing the noodles. And this is where all the flavor starts coming together too. Rice noodles, so you can tell they're kind of cooked, a little dry. And then I put that in. How they look, nice, nice, nice. A layer like that. And then a little more salt, just to get a little bit around. Okay. Stir fry that a little bit. And add a little more curry. Actually, all this stuff goes back in now. And put a little more curry powder too as well. There we go. There's that. It's a little full right now. Okay, now another 2 teaspoons of curry as well. And then I've got a little soy sauce here. I'm gonna add that to that. Okay. And then give that a nice stir to combine everything. Just like that. Oh yeah.